Hello teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel. I know videos have been a little bit quiet. I had a busy week at work, but got one more day left. I've just got to get through tomorrow. There's been a fair amount of messing around at work, but I'll maybe make a personal video for that. For today, we're here to talk about Chantal. I don't have coffee today, so tea is as much as I do. I've done something to the roof of my mouth. I burnt it yesterday eating dinner. And I woke up today and it was angry with me. So we've got some iced tea and it's mixed with a mint lemonade I had. So, Foodie, she's been online a lot. She had a lot of streams, but actually not that much to say. So we're just gonna go through them one by one. I haven't seen her last one, because she deleted it before I got up. But I think her last two, the car cleaning and the driving to a friend's, I haven't seen any clip shows of it available anywhere. But I believe when she was on stream, because I caught the very beginning of it, for car cleaning, she demonetized the video because she was listening to music and it was going to be copyright claimed anyway. So that might have been the reason she deleted. If there was something more dramatic happening, if she raged, anything like that, I haven't seen it yet. So these aren't the videos we're here to cover, but the Foodie Beauty official, she had 3 lives and she deleted 2 of them. She's been on quite the deleting spree recently. Back to the time of old where she used to do it with like every other video. But again, it's just a waste of money. She doesn't care what the audience actually thinks of her, and she said it again and again. So at this point, why bother deleting? From what I can tell of the first 2 streams of the Foodie Beauty official, it was just the same old stuff. Raging about Nada, getting angry at her audience, blocking a ton of people, just making herself look bad online. Shocker, I know. But the third one she left up had a little bit less of that. She obviously considered it less damaging, but there wasn't much to say other than that. That was the key point, the fact that she was raging again, she was crying all over Nada again, and blocking people, of course. We then went on to, I think it was Ready or Getting Ready. Nothing much except that one of her imaginary dudes apparently said, the guy that she says on and off, you know, oh, I'm gonna go meet this guy. So they're meant to go to the beach today, which might be where she is because she hasn't logged back on. She could also be with Nada because that's my default assumption around Payday. But the dude that she claims to be completely real apparently said he watched her YouTube and she looks like she's still in love with her ex and she's just trying to make him jealous. Which, if he's real, is completely true, I think. She's very, very quick to be like, no, that's not true at all. So if he's real, he's clocked it. How does he know about her YouTube channel though? That seems odd. And if, like, there'd be no reason to tell him, I guess, except to see if he would survive seeing it and then if they'd still go out. But I can't imagine she told him about her YouTube immediately. And if someone came up to me, if I were Foodie and I were dating and someone came up to me and I had the audience she had, I would immediately assume that anyone aware of her online presence would be a troll. Like, I wouldn't trust meeting them, you know? So she's in quite the catch-22 in that way. Like, at what point do you tell people, you know? At what point do you indoctrinate them in to the Foodieverse? It's got to be a hard one, you know? Of course, there is a chance also that this whole story is a way to be like, no, I'm spending time with a friend and going down to Nada's, like I said. So whether it's real, whether it's not, this is the story she's going with. So the plan was that evening to do, I think, a meetup. I think he was meant to come to her house. And I was sitting there like, so you learned nothing from the S-Jam thing and you gave him your address? Like, maybe I misunderstood that, but that didn't seem right. I was like, why would you do that? But she was meant to meet him, I think, at like 4 or 5, I can't remember the exact time. They were just gonna have like a look at each other and fill each other out, hopefully not literally, but you do you, and just decide if they wanted to spend the day together at the beach the next day, which is what she says her plans were today. She also was going to go to Costco and go see a good friend. Again, anytime she says friend and doesn't say a name, I assume Nada. because it's payday and that's the way it works, right? She does not have a wide social circle. At some point, she had a wider one than she has now, but she really has a limited amount of people who aren't online. So anytime she suddenly brings up an old friend, a good friend that we're unaware of, she said this friend was female. I think there was a little bit of question about whether it was the female she claims to be kind of talking to over the dating apps, which was a whole other thing. But I'm suspicious, put it that way. She said that Nada was blocked everywhere. She had claimed that before. Why she unblocked him is a whole nother matter. She ends the stream by unblocking everyone, saying she'll reblock as needed, so nothing new there particularly. She apparently got over herself yesterday and then was like, oh, unblock them, but you are replaceable. We then go on to errands. That was her second one. So people are unblocked, as I say. She's giving people another chance because, you know, it's our responsibility to watch ourselves rather than, you know, us supporting her channel, people giving her money to be in the chat. You know, we've got to watch ourselves. And again, she reiterates she's going to see a friend tonight. She isn't sure about going to Costco. She has to get her car fixed. So she started up her car and her car was like, no, thank you. So she ended up going to Starbucks instead of the cheaper Tim Hortons, because remember, she wasn't going to do Starbucks anymore. Because it's right by the Kia dealership and she wants to go and get whatever it is fixed. Her poor Kia. Can you imagine rocking up into a dealership, the entire front of your bumper missing and just the wreck of it? While she's in the dealership, she does mute for quite a long time. We go on for a handbag ride and that's just how it goes. She leaves her car there to get, it ended up being a battery issue. They needed a new battery and she gets a cab back. She asks the cab guy to just stop off at the pet store to go get the pet food first and then drive her home. This is a minor point, but I was like, if you knew you were probably going to have to go to the dealership and you were waiting for it to open, why would you not go get your pet food first and then have it there in case your car needed to be dropped off? I suspect the answer is because she didn't think it through, which is not shocking. Or if I'm going to be entirely fair to her, the pet food place might also not have been open if she was also waiting for the dealership to open. But a little nitpicky thing, I know, but wouldn't have been much planning because you managed to prioritize going to get coffee. You could have gone to the pet store. She speculates that maybe her friend can drop her off here later, which again, I was like, so he's coming to your house? And then repeatedly watches the channel. That was about all that was in that one. We then go on to cooking and stuff. That was the one that I followed kind of myself. I didn't see it cut down or whatever, so I've got more notes on that one. It's got a few points in. She starts cleaning out her purse and she's got a lot of attitude about it. She's going through literal receipts going, oh, who paid for that? Who paid for, oh, the hotel, whatever, who paid for that? Oh, is that my credit card? So I'm sitting there going, well, okay, so neither of you paid for it because if it's on the credit card, it's not paid for. But that's a minor point. And also, was anyone doubting that she had paid? I know she said, no, we're splitting it. But for the guy that she's repeatedly said can't afford a pack of cigarettes on his own, of course she was paying for the hotels. We knew. Of course we knew. I would have been shocked if he'd paid his share. There was a thing that she's going to address later in terms of payment and bills. While Nada was on his channel, he showed his phone and said, look, Foodie's been contacting me and I haven't been replying. And there were a list of like Foodie Beauty trying to message him and him not answering and him calling and him not picking up. Since, you know, when she tried to call into their live and it was really cringe and her big boss attitude just withered and died the moment they picked up. And Dee was like, something you want to ask me, Chantal? And she's like, no. And it was all a little bit cringe and pathetic. Yeah, since then, she's messaged him. She is going to mention it later, so I will, I'll get into it then, but it becomes relevant. She speaks briefly on the overturning of Roe versus Wade. to all the female Americans watching out there. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She says that she's had two and she recognizes the need for it to exist because she's not selfish. I would argue that her being selfish is one, not the point, and two, also not true. But I am in a rather uncomfortable position of agreeing with her at this point, so I'm just leaving it there. Fortunately, she's not drunk, so she doesn't dwell too much on the subject at the moment, but it does come back up later. She says that she's going to be making barbecue chicken and Mexican rice. She's waiting on groceries to arrive. Spoiler alert, she gets tired, she orders some food and doesn't make it. So that's useful. She asks her chat, why do you like seeing people rage? And I'm like, miss, you know the YouTube game, don't start with this. She laughs at her cat, I can't remember which cat it was, I think it was BBJ, drinking out of the dirty dishes. She has like a dirty cup, you know that big cup she has for milkshakes and things, I think it's that one. So the cat is drinking out of a dirty cup, the water that's in a dirty cup, yeah? And she's laughing about it, saying, look, I just put food here and fresh water here. I just put fresh water here. And this is the cup she chooses to drink about, ha, 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 ha. The vet has said the fresh water is the most important thing for her. So why are you letting her drink out of the dirty stuff? Take the glass, pour it away, put her next to one of the clean waters. If she's really thirsty, she'll drink it. Why would you sit there letting your cat drink the dirty water? You've got other options here. And this is when she tells us the car's going to need a new battery. The conversation moves on. It's going to be like $470 after everything. I have absolutely zero idea if that's a good price or not. I feel like the dealership would probably be more expensive and she could have gone to a mechanic, but I don't know. That might have been a perfectly reasonable thing. She goes on, the conversation changes on and off. So she's like, I don't block for no reason. Well, this time I was upset. Yeah, anytime you can't handle your emotions, you block. I would classify that as no good reason. But there we go. She said she's feeling dizzy and kind of nauseous. She asked if she's eaten today. She had when she stopped at Starbucks. She got a tomato and mozzarella sandwich. She should probably see a doctor. I know we've been saying this for a while, but it seems like her different symptoms, her asthma is back, but she's also a smoker, so that doesn't surprise me. She's feeling dizzy, she's feeling nauseated. Like, maybe go get a checkup, just a general checkup. As she's raging at Dee Dee, and she didn't do that in this live, but raging at Dee Dee and the amount Dee Dee drinks and how she should watch her liver, maybe go get all of your things checked up on. Yeah, just so you can be comfortable yelling at other people about it, because I've got a feeling there's some home truths waiting for you. The groceries arrived. She said that there were no sponges. She'd ordered sponges, they didn't bring them. For the woman who eats all the food and then gets refunds off of Uber Eats really easily, I don't know why she wouldn't deal with that. But there were no sponges, so she can't do her dishes, which is why there are dirty dishes and things in the sink. Madam, you have a dishwasher. A dishwasher that we see her loading at some point. You could do something there, yeah? So she gets takeout. She wants it to be healthy takeout, but she wants nashies. Again, she's just received groceries. She could cook something for herself, but there we go. People are suggesting food, sandwiches, whatever. She doesn't have any bread, despite the fact that she just got groceries. So clearly a lot of intensive meal planning went on when she was deciding what to buy. I'm guessing she did what she usually does, which is to buy exactly what she needs for this meal and some random snack crap, and then she'll need groceries again in 5 minutes. There's a jump where I'm guessing as she was walking up during the line, it started hanging. So when it goes back, she's upstairs and lying on her bed. She said she ordered chicken fries, beans, and a salad, and she hopes they give her pita for the beans. So circles back around to talking again about the guy that she's going to be meeting this evening. And again, how do you know it's a legitimate guy, not a troll? If he's very familiar with your channel, that's a risk. And certainly if he's coming to meet you at his house, it's not a risk I would take if he's already familiar with your channel. She talks about jeans being a bad look. She, you know, when she puts the camera down just to bait reaction channels and clip makers and things. So she does look quite uncomfortable, to be fair. And she mentions that her eyeshadow is Violet Voss. Has anyone tried Violet Voss? I've heard quite inconsistent things about their formula, but sometimes they put out something and I think, oh, I should give them a try. Okay, so the the phone screen that Nada showed that I mentioned earlier comes into play here. So one of the things that happened when Nada was showing the after she'd called in, I'm doing the effects for you in case you can't understand me. I'm not sure why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. So after she called in, he was showing, look, since then and all that energy, she's messaged me and I haven't been answering, and he just slides the phone to show. At the very bottom of the phone, and I'll put the message in the screen somewhere, there was a cut-off message that said, I don't know if he intended to show this or if he didn't, I could believe both. Just to let you know, this was from Monday, the call in was Sunday. Just to let you know, I've decided to pay those 2 bills, and the rest of the message is cut off. So even after that stream, she is agreeing to pay him money. Now, I could believe completely that this was just a ruse. Not a ruse, I think she'll pay it. But this was just a way to bait him into answering. Because again, if she's giving him money, he's got more reason to respond. So she tried raging and she couldn't provoke him. She tried calling, he wouldn't answer. Now she's trying being nice. She went through exactly the same series of emotions when Didi was first introduced. She raged, she wasn't happy, and then we ended with, when she was like, Didi, if you ever need a ride, call me, because you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, but she can't maintain it. So people mentioned that, and she's not happy, and she was like, why would you show that? It just shows you to be a bum. He already knows that. If he did it on purpose, it makes her look worse than him. I would say, if anything can be said of Nada, it's been very clear the kind of person he was from day one. So him being a grifter is not a shock. It doesn't make me feel any better or worse about him because it's a fact of his personality. It makes her look completely stupid, and she knows it, and she's trying to deflect. So she says that the 2 bills were from before, and that she had said she was going to pay them before, and then she hadn't paid them, and now they're in collections, which is just another example of stupid financial planning. One of the bills is from when she left him in the pharmacy. Do you remember that? And she came online driving back and was like, whenever this happens, I'm going to out you for it. She left him in the pharmacy where they had gone to get gonorrhea medicine that she had paid for, because he cheated on her and then convinced her that they both got it because she was dirty. She also gave some really gross fine detail about the events of her getting gonorrhea, and I'm like, I don't need that, thank you. But when she left him, he must have gone into one of the stores and gotten some kind of phone service, because she was giving him his phone and she had it, and whatever. He went and got phone service. And for some reason, well, I guess because then they got back together and she had to prove she was repentant, she promised to pay that bill because it had been caused by her leaving him at the pharmacy. Given the other things she claims caused her to leave him at the pharmacy, I would argue the bill is his own responsibility, but there we go. The second one, she starts by saying, well, when I was at his house, I wanted internet and cable. And then she kind of recounts it and goes, oh, no, maybe the second one was his internet bill, because she can't trust what he's going to say and she can't trust what's going to come up. So she's leaving it just open enough that she can argue it either way. I would say I would not pay that first bill at all. But the second one, if she decided that she wanted internet and cable at his house, yes, she should take responsibility for that bill. But does he still have internet? Oh no, he's not at his house anymore. It's like, was it an ongoing thing? Because cancel it, man. If you don't cancel it, there we go. But if it was just his internet bill at the time, well then. Something else to note about these text messages, if they are in fact true and he hasn't been answering her, like I said, the reason I think it's like a progressing thing on her part where she's like, I've tried being angry, I've tried calling him out online. She has an intense need for attention and she needs him to respond. You know the talk we've had about like narc attributes and her being an empath? Guys, the woman who told Pete to go put on his earphones if he didn't want to listen to her. The woman who has actually said on her channel, Why should I do things I don't want to do just because people need me? That person thinks she's an empath, yeah? And is finding it very difficult to reflect on the attributes of hers that may be similar to Nada's. Now, we can't call either of them a narc because you need a diagnosis, but if you're making the argument, they are more similar than they are different, you know? But if you notice, as she's doing the offer and you see the picture, she does offer spontaneously. Yeah, there's no ongoing conversation. It's just something, she's obviously stewing in it at home, can't help herself, and then sends a message. So it came from nowhere. I think we don't know what came after. He might have answered after, because I don't trust him as far as I can throw him either, but that's what we see. She then moves on to, again, details that don't need to be shared online about the motorcycle man, about how she had sex with him once over the hood of her car. Oh, do you remember when she was calling Dee Dee and whatever Dee Dee's, I don't want to say friend, whatever the other mod's name is, whoever it is that she also hates, and she was calling them French prostitutes? You're literally meeting up with this guy and having sex over the hood of his car. Maybe simmer down on the judgment of other people's sex lives, yeah? And if also, when we talk about the motorcycle guy, kind of, you feel he was pressuring you too much, you always have a woman, as a woman, have the right to say no, whether you've had sex before, whether you have sex in the future at some point. If in this moment the answer is no, then the answer is no. Yeah, so I'm not belittling that feeling, but I would say if you'd already had sex once under those circumstances the first time you met, I wouldn't blame him for thinking it was an option on the table, particularly later when she talks, oh, let's get into this now, I don't want something serious, but I don't want a one-night stand. When you're on these kinds of apps and you're taking the kind of actions you're taking, I imagine that could be very hard to pass as a partner, as someone who's responding to her. Because either you say I want a relationship or you want something casual, and frequently on these apps, casual means one-night stands. I want to hook up, even if you hook up a few times. So I can't blame him for being a little bit confused if, again, he does actually exist. And she does say, you know, I wanted that too. It was really hot. And it's like, well, then no wonder the poor guy's confused. Has the nerve to say, be safe and use protection if you're going to go out and have fun, which is absolutely true. You do you, but be safe, use protection. Yeah, just do yourself a favor, especially in light of current political events, but we won't get that messed up with this right now. But this is the same woman who in a recent live stream admitted she had never used condoms with Nada ever. Not before, that means not before and not after. She didn't specify not before and not after the STI, but when she got the STI and she was showing us boxes of condoms she had bought, she said she didn't use condoms with Nada. So learned nothing from that and is actually standing there advising. So there we go. Her food arrived, she's ordered food. People tell her it's not Egyptian, it's available over the Middle East. That is true. I see it for order here and like in restaurants because it is a very traditional dish, but it's always spelt, when you look at the Roman alphabet, because we have the Arabic on one side and like the Roman on the other, and it's always spelt foul, F-O-U-L. So I'm always a little bit put off by it, and I was like, I can't get my hopes up for that dish, even though it's a perfectly lovely dish. But it is available all over the Middle East. I'm sure there are probably regional versions of it. That tends to be the case with a lot of Middle Eastern food, where you have different kind of varieties of it and different elements of it in different countries, but it looked nice enough. She got a shit ton of pita, which is what she wanted, and I was like, why? Because it was that massive block, but then she said it was buy one get one free, so I was like, oh, so it's 2 portions, okay. But it means she's got some for the guy that's apparently coming to see her, who is apparently Middle Eastern, so she's got extra if he's hungry. And I was like, okay, I mean, I'm glad it was in a separate dish, buy one get one free, but again, not comfortable with the idea of the random dude showing up at her house. She had chosen beans to eat, which historically do not sit comfortably in her stomach, and then she ate something garlic. And I was like, these are excellent date choices, good job. And then she starts talking about prep. She's got to do laundry, she's got to vacuum, decide what she wants to wear, that kind of thing. And she gets a notification on her phone, the car's ready, which is a little bit earlier than she expected. She goes upstairs, Pete comes in and she mutes for a little bit. And when she unmutes, Pete is ranting about Roe Wade and the overturning. Like, here's the thing, guys. I'm very much pro-choice. I'm not American, but I'm very much pro-choice. So I see the overturning of it as a blow to women's rights. However, he is also not American. He's also a guy. And I'm just really uncomfortable with this rant. Even if I agree with the general idea of I think it's a terrible thing, I wish he'd shut up. Like, not because he doesn't get to have an opinion, but the way he speaks about it, the way he rages about it, and he tries to turn it back around to say, you know, and Canadians also need to watch out. And then Foodie starts talking about, no, I'm going to start a revolution. And then we should have merch, down with fascists. I'm like, oh. This is the problem with either of them having a serious conversation. It's that neither of them really have the skills or the... Hang on. I'm back! This was at the door. I completely forgot I was getting a delivery today. I'm debating doing a change of look before going to my new school, and even if I ended up getting it and not liking it, I was like, well, I can wear it in the summer and just kind of get it out of my system. So I just wanted to show it you before I move on. And we're back. Okay, so I can't quite remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, Pete. So he was ranting. I do think that this is an issue that everybody should get behind as being a basic human right, but at the same time, I don't think he speaks on things well, and I'd rather that being the case, him not having the conversation. That's as much as I'm going to say about it. Okay, so at the end of this, she tells Pete that she didn't cook, so he can just order anything he wants, and then says, can you transfer all your money, because she can't find the card with... She has two cards, sorry. There was a little bit talk about finance. I was like, what? She has a card that has a larger amount on, and she has a card that I guess has a smaller limit on, or a smaller amount in it, or whatever it is. I don't know if they're debits or credits. She says she has one card just for ordering food, and then one card like regular. But for whatever reason, she can't find the card with a bigger amount on, and she needs to pay for the battery. She needs to pay the $500 or however much it was. So she said, transfer me the money and I'll transfer it back to you. And I was like, I would advise them to keep their finances more separate than this. And even if you can't, as a general point, even if you can't find your card, I would recommend as a general financial thing, have some money in another account that can cover bills like this. Like, yes, I realised the car was unexpected in some ways. She didn't expect it to go today, even though she's been saying there's been problems with it for a while. But $500 she should have in another account somewhere. With the amount she makes, there's no reason not to have an emergency fund. Now, I know this is all pie in the sky ideals because it would involve any slight manner of financial planning, and that's not how she works. But if I were Pete, I'd be a little bit more concerned just giving all my cash to Foodie. Very briefly, continuing the political talk, she was like, why is anyone conservative? What is a conservative? And I was like, this right here, this is the reason I don't want you talking about this. But there we go. She mentions that she's had a loan forever, that it takes forever to pay off, and she keeps forgetting about it. So I guess she's not paying, she's only paying the interest. Yeah. These are the things we don't see on screen very often, because she's mentioned she's had a bankruptcy in the past. And when she talks about where all her money goes, not counting things like payday loans and all the ridiculous crap we see on screen, apparently she has a loan taken away. If she's only paying interest, then based on her financial history, her interest rate would be appalling. She's probably not paying down that principal at all. And the way financially things are going and the rise of inflation and interest rates and all of that, I personally would want to get rid of debt as fast as I could. And that's been one thing I've been working on this year. Just when I get paid, tomorrow, when I get paid tomorrow, I'm paying off the last of my credit card and I just want to keep it off. Because it's a scary world out there financially at the moment, and you gotta be a little bit more careful with yourself, and it's wasted money at the end of the day. I know why people get into debt. I got into debt. I'm not gonna sit there and judge you for doing it, but when it's Foodie and she's got the amount of money she does, she can definitely make better choices. I'm not quite sure how the conversation got onto this, but she tells us that both her mom and dad wanted her and that her mom was a beezer and they hid it from grandma. I can believe they told her that because that's the kind thing to tell your daughter, but her mum got pregnant at 16, I think. I can bet they hid it from grandma, but I can't believe it was a planned pregnancy. You know, not at that age, and I'm not kicking anyone who wants to have children early, but I can't imagine they intended to be parents that age. They can still love her very much, but I can't imagine they intended to have children right then. So anyway, said she needs to go to the bank, I'm guessing either to replace the card or put a hold on the card or whatever. Usually you can do that through apps. I'm not sure why she was there. And she needs to go pick up her stuff. We then go into the car cleaning live. I only saw a little bit of it and it got deleted. And the driving to a friend's also got deleted before I woke up. So I haven't seen anything. There was a weird thing going on with YouTube, but it's happened with a couple of videos for me. I don't know if it's happening with everybody else, but I went and it said this video has been deleted by uploader, and then I refreshed and it was there. So usually when you can't see something, it says it's private. If it's deleted, it's usually gone. But it happened to me on another video. In my suggested, there was like a live video, some animal video, and I clicked on it and it said this video was deleted by uploader. So I don't know if maybe something's going on with YouTube there. I refreshed it and there it was. So we come into the video, she's in the car, she's changed her clothes, she's wearing a wig. The wig was notable, not because she wears it, because I wear one obviously, but because she had made a point at some point in recent past or in one of these lives that she wasn't going to wear the wig, she was going to wear the head wrap, because the guy, and I think it was this guy that she was apparently going to be meeting, had said, as long as you keep the wig on, you're fine. And she was like, no, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And I would argue that people don't deserve her at her best. They deserve better, but that's just me. I do think it's sensible to have a conversation about the wig beforehand, because if it's going to be a problem for someone, better to know it early. And it seems like they started to do that. I would not personally go on a date with a guy who was like, well, if you keep it on, because so I get her point there. But yeah, she apparently changed her mind anyway, so she put the wig on. That was as much as I saw. She did at the very beginning of that stream, I think she grabbed her phone and said, oh, I'll demonetize this, because she was listening to copyright music. I don't believe she raged in this stream, but I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. And I haven't been able to find a cut down of these two yet. The driving to a friend's was deleted before I woke up, so I didn't see it. And she's been MIA since then. She didn't go live today. Showing herself getting ready to go out or anything like that, which is unusual on one hand, but on the other hand, it's payday weekend. So I still suspect the friend was nada and that she's not going to the beach at all. We shall see, is all we can really say. I will say when she was cleaning out the car, she appeared to be near the outhouse. I don't know why she'd need to go that way if she wasn't going to see nada. These things always reveal themselves, and she has a pretty well-defined cycle, and she claims she's breaking it, and I hope she is, but until I see proof positive, I won't believe it. Okay, everyone, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.